Good evening and welcome to tonight's regional news. We begin with a story from Barbados. Businessman Hemanath Surendranath, who fought to get bail on COVID-19 charges, died on Tuesday, the day he was supposed to return to court. Queen's Counsel Michael Lashley, who filed the urgent bail application to get the first-time offender out of prison after he fell gravely ill while on remand, said that the sad turn of events should signal the need for a gentler approach in the uncharted waters of COVID-19. Surendranath was at the center of a family battle with prison authorities after, while on remand at HMP Dodds, he was moved to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, unknown to his family, who found out about 2 weeks after. On February 17, the Guyanese businessman, who was operating in Barbados for more than 20 years, pleaded guilty to contravening the Emergency Management COVID-19 Protocols Special Curfew No. 3, Directive 2021, by being the owner of a non-essential service, failing to remain closed on February 14 and February 16. Now in Cuba. Cuba will administer experimental COVID-19 shots to nearly the entire population of the capital Havana by May, as health authorities carry out massive interventional studies and late-stage trials, officials said on Tuesday. Cuba, which has a long history of developing and exporting vaccines, this month began late-phase trials of 2 of its 5 experimental shots, Soberana 2 and Abdala, which will be the Latin Americans' first homegrown COVID-19 vaccines if they prove successful. Cuba is registering 600 to 1,000 new cases a day. Government critics have said Cuba should have purchased approved vaccines from abroad to kick off its immunization campaign while it completed trials on its homegrown vaccines. Venezuela and Iran, which also face U.S. sanctions, say they will also trial the Cuban COVID-19 vaccines, which have attracted the interest of other countries like Mexico and Jamaica. Now in Brazil. Brazil suffered a record 3,251 COVID-19 deaths on Tuesday as pot-banging protests erupted across the country during an address by President Jair Bolsonaro, in which he defended his pandemic response and pledged to ramp up vaccinations. Bolsonaro said his government had never failed to adopt measures to combat the pandemic and said he would make 2021 the year of vaccinations. However, in cities across Brazil, loud pot-banging protests echoed through the night as many voiced their anger at his handling of an outbreak that has killed nearly 300,000 people. Only 2.6% of Brazilian adults have so far received 2 vaccine doses, while 7.6% of the population, or 12.1 million people, have received 1 shot. In Haiti. Haiti Soccer Federation officials are awaiting the decision of FIFA, the international governing body for football, on whether a Haiti-Belize World Cup qualifier will be held on Thursday in Port-au-Prince. The FIFA security expert arrived in Haiti Tuesday morning and toured the capital to evaluate the security situation after Belize's team bus was held up at gunpoint on Monday. The athletes, who were not harmed in the incident, described the scene as harrowing. They said high-powered rifles were aimed at their bus. The armed men on motorbikes were members of a renegade group called Phantom 509, comprising disgruntled current and former police officers. Belize team official Marlon Collin immediately reported the incident to FIFA and the Confederation of North, Central America and Caribbean Association Football. FIFA has not yet commented on the incident. The Belize Football Federation later issued a statement expressing disappointment and disgust. The World Cup is scheduled to be held in Qatar from November 21 to December 18, 2022. And finally, the director of the Pan-American Health Organization, PAHO, Carissa F. Eteen, has applauded the arrival of over 2.2 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines procured through COVAX for the Americas, but warned that the virus is surging dangerously in many countries in the region. COVAX, the global alliance to ensure equitable access to COVID-19 vaccines, has helped deliver over 2.2 million doses to the region so far, including more than 1 million doses that arrived in a hard-hit Brazil on Sunday, PAHO said in a release. More doses are expected to arrive this week in Suriname and Belize, and an additional 1.2 million doses have been procured through COVAX. But, I quote, "The COVID-19 virus is not receding, nor is the pandemic starting to go away," end of quote, Dr. Etienne warned in her weekly media briefing. I quote, "Vaccines are coming, but they are still several months away for most people in our region," end of quote, she said, urging people to continue to respect public health measures, masks, hand washing, and social distancing, especially during upcoming holidays. I quote, "People cannot let their guard down by engaging in close contact with others," end of quote. The pandemic is particularly dire in South America, where the infection is reported to be spiking in Chile, Paraguay, and Uruguay. I quote, "In Paraguay, majority of ICU beds are occupied and the health system is buckling under pressure," end of quote, Dr. Etienne said. The pandemic is accelerating elsewhere in the Americas, including Guatemala, where increasing cases and hospitalizations are, quote, "straining hospital bed capacity due to the influx of patients," end of quote, Dr. Etienne said. In the Caribbean, cases are increasing in Cuba, Aruba, Curacao, and Antigua and Barbuda, she said. In Jamaica, cases have risen steadily for several weeks. That was all for tonight's regional news. Thanks for joining.